Hi everyone, and welcome to Traveling Misknits. My name is Pia, and I am so very happy that you're joining me here today for a little chat about yarn and knitting. Last week I had two finished objects. I had a hat and a shawl. And this week I have two finished objects. I have a hat and a shawl. The hat is even the same pattern recipe as the one from last week. Last week I had finished a ribbed hat for my son. When his son saw that, he was like, I want a hat too. And of course he should have a hat. So I brought him up here to my craft room. I let him go through all of my yarn collection and find the yarn that he liked the best. And he picked this very green, actually a lovely green color that is going to be amazing on him. It is, I have no idea what kind of yarn it is. It's one of those yarns that has just been living in my collection forever, for as long as I can remember. This 1.5 messy ball of this very green yarn has just been sitting around for a very long time. I was more than happy to use it. Again, the color is going to look gorgeous on him. My only concern was that it is I think it's a chunky weight. It's a rather heavy yarn. So I was a little concerned that it would look too chunky, like clumsy on him, because he is only 3. So I decided to go with a 1x1 ribbing rather than my usual 2x2 ribbing. But other than that, this is just like all the other hats that I made this winter. I just realized that I haven't gotten to show many of my hats. Mostly it's been a photo. But yeah, Victor's hat I get to show. For this one, I only had 58 stitches because, again, heavy yarn, small child. Usually when I make them for adult sizes, I will use 2 strands of worsted weight yarn, needles size 6mm, which is, I guess, a US 10. I will cast on, for me, I have a rather large head. I will cast on 76 stitches. For a man, I will cast on 80 stitches. And I will knit ribbing, usually 2x2, but in this case, 1x1. I will turn my work after a couple of rows so that when I fold up the brim, it will be the right side of the cast on edge that is going to be on the outside. When I think the hat is long enough, I divide my stitches into 5, and then I decrease only on one side of my stitch markers to get this swirly crown. Yeah. So super simple. This one did not take long, right? There's not a lot of hours of knitting in it. It did actually take me a while because I was using, again, really heavy yarn, and I was using my Lykke needles, which in Lykke I have the shorties, so very short needle tips combined with this heavy yarn. It just hurt my fingers, my hands, my elbows. So what I would do was I'd knit on it for maybe 30 minutes, and then I would put it aside, pick it up later, 30 minutes again, and yeah, now there's a hat. I am gonna have Victor come up and choose if he wants to add a pom-pom. He gets to pick a pom. I have a small collection of faux fur poms here. I actually have a favorite for his hat. This blue one I think would look really great, but I don't know. I'll let Victor decide that when he comes tomorrow, which is also why I am recording today, so I got a chance to actually show you the hat. The other thing that I finished that was surprising to me because it's a lot of knitting, but I did finish my quarantine shawl. The shawl that I talked about at length on the last episode, talked about how this was a really meaningful project to me. It allowed me to work through emotions. I tell the whole story on the last episode, but yeah, it's been a process, that is safe to say. I feel lighter for it. I somehow feel that I've gotten closure that I didn't even know that I needed. But yeah, it was nice to work through those COVID scary days. And now I have a wonderful shawl. I really like this design. Yeah, I like the story of it. I like that I modeled it after the place where I was at when I was designing it. And then I like the little pops of color that I have added to the very graphic black and white in the first version, gray and lighter gray in this version. I like everything about it, basically. I also like that it's a fingering weight wool. It's a superwash, so it's very, very soft and it's not too warm. It's a shawl that I can wear indoors. It's not something that I use as a scarf when I go outside. It's something, well, I also use it there, but it's also something that I just wear, yeah, indoors every day. It is, as I explained last time, knit in the round because it is all over color work. So yeah, I would probably have driven myself crazy had I tried to knit it flat. I don't mind pulling with color work, but I do need to pay a lot of attention because I can't read my knitting the same way because of the floats. So I will have to sit and count. I mean, you can't really read where you're at in the pattern. So I do prefer knitting when it's color work, and working the shawl in the round allowed me to do that. I have then sticked it here. I usually reinforce with a crochet edge, and then I just cut it. I fold it over the edge and just tacked it down. And yeah, my shawl. I am very, very pleased with it. And as I also told you last week, it has been tested over and over again. The construction, the stitch count, everything. The only thing I changed for this version is the distribution of the stitch patterns, because what I wasn't able to do on my earlier tries was get a nice spine to the shawl. But I really think I nailed it this time. I'm being really modest now, can you tell? But I am very, very pleased with the way that this worked out. It did take a couple of tries on this section to get it right, but yeah, it's here. It's done. The original shawl, I did change the finishing of the shawl. On the original shawl, I had a one color border down here, and then I bound off with an I-cord bind off in these two contrasting colors, working 10 stitches of each. But for this one, I decided to just do one row where I knit into the stitch 2 rows below to minimize the curling. And then I worked Jenny's Surprisingly Stretching bind off from the wrong side, which I think it gives it just a nice polished edge. It looks like a miniature I-cord of sorts. I don't know if it really comes through on the camera, but I like that bind off when worked from the wrong side. So yeah, something that I am very proud of, and also something that now have even more memories. Now it also has the happy memories of being able to sit with all of the emotions that came up when I was being propelled back into COVID times. So very, very pleased with this one. Other than these two projects that I finished, I actually have two more things that I have worked on. One of them, of course, being my In and Out Raglan. And I am honestly kind of embarrassed to show you because I have not done a lot on it. And what is really embarrassing is not having done a lot on it. It is the fact that it's still scrunched up on a too short cable. I even put in a larger cable for me to just transfer it, just knit it over onto the new set of needles with the longer cable. This is ridiculous because, I mean, yeah, but it's gonna happen. I am pretty sure that it's gonna get some love this week because on Monday, we are going to the Maldives. We were out there last year this time, and everything just worked out so that we could go again this year. So I was thinking that this is going to be perfect plain knitting. Something simple, something calming, and something super luxurious, because this is super luxurious. It is amazing yarns that I am using. I have shown them before, but I am going to show them again because they are so special. It's two Japanese yarns. Both are things that has been gifted to me. The Noro I got from a viewer and friend, someone who gave me a full sweater's quantity of this amazing Noro silk. I got it in December, and as soon as I got it, I knew that I was going to make it into something really special. At the same time, I was also thinking about, I want to do the In and Out Raglan. It looks like a true wardrobe staple, a classic that I can use for many, many years. And that's where it dawned on me. If you have a luxury yarn, maybe you should use it for a wardrobe staple that you will use forever. So I decided to do that. And I decided that I wanted to hold it with just a little bit of fluff. Just because. So I got another Japanese yarn with some money that I got for Christmas. I bought some Ito Sensei in the colorway Goat. And yeah, this is luxury. Definitely. And the fabric that these two yarns are creating is just, I'm obsessed. It's so soft. I can't even explain how soft it is. Yet it still has, it doesn't feel super drapey. It's not like smooth. It's more just soft. Soft like a little kitten. Yeah. So I am sure that this will be a pleasure to work on the long flight to the Maldives. And my next cast on is a rather impulsive thing that has to do, again, with going to the Maldives. It has to do with me pulling out all of my summer clothes, going through them, sorting what do I need, what do I not need. And I realized, oh, I need a little something to just throw over my swimsuit and shorts, which is what I will typically wear out there. Something to just give me a little more coverage. And I was contemplating, going back and forth. Should I just knit something, just come up with something and just knit it? But then I remembered an old pattern of mine, the knit with no name, which is also what I am wearing today. So I'm just going to stand up so I can talk about it while showing it. So the knit with no name is inspired by the bed jackets that my grandmother used to make. My grandmother was a lady, and she liked the nice things in life, which was fascinating for a little girl. She also liked reading in bed, and for that, she had little bed jackets that she would put on so that she would be warm and comfortable, but not having a lot of bulk around her. And to me, as a little girl, it was just, wow, she is dressing up to go read in bed. That was so amazing. And I still remember sitting there next to her in bed when she was reading to me. I remember her perfume, and I remember the super fluffy, soft Angora that she would typically knit her bed jackets out of. She later showed me how to make them, and they are really simple. It's basically just a sleeve that goes over both arms, open in the middle so you can like stick your arms in. And then she would add a border. She wouldn't add it in the neck, but all around the front and the back, she would add a little border, maybe 10 to 15 centimeters, just something pretty to give her a little bit of coverage and warm her back. I have later seen many of those. They're often called boleros or bed jackets, or in Danish, sjælevarmer, soul warmers, which is adorable. But I always just stuck to Grandma's recipe. On this one, I have made some changes because I wanted to turn it into more of a cardigan. As I was knitting these over the years, I would knit the border longer and longer, and I could see this is going to work as a cardigan. But to do that, I did need to make some modifications to get a better fit. Because if you just use Grandma's recipe and just knit the sleeve, then the fronts are going to sit very high because the edge of the sleeve is all the way up here, and the other edge is down here on the back. So in order to get a good fit, I inserted some neck shaping. And I also did, let me just show you here, I did add some short rows here to the front so that they wouldn't pull up too much. I just had to open the door, but I'm back. I think I was talking about the short rows. I was. The short rows that a brilliant tester, Karen, gave me the idea for. Without the short rows in front, it's just going to hang too high. So in the beginning, when I was still following Grandma's recipe, my border, my edge here, would hang all the way up like this. But with these modifications, it's a super cozy, versatile little cardigan. And I thought, wouldn't it look pretty without sleeves? Wouldn't I then accomplish what I was searching for? A little nice cover-up. So I started knitting. And yeah, I have been knitting. I have been knitting up a storm. I finished the sleeve portion with the neck shaping, as you can see, and then I started knitting the border. In the pattern for this knit with no name, there are two different options. There is the stockinette stitch option that I'm wearing here, but there's also an option with my other grandmother's spider pattern. She called it a spider pattern, maybe because it looks like little spiders, maybe because that's just how she was taught. I have actually found out that I love the backside to this pattern as well. Isn't it great? I love this. But what I thought I'm going to do is I'm going to try this on. I think it's going to fit me. If it looks crazy, I'm probably going to cut it out of the podcast. But let's see. I'll just try it on now. So it's working. It is definitely working. It is doing exactly what I was imagining. Just a little light cover up, a short-sleeved, very short-sleeved cardigan, a vest, if you will, just to put over my swimsuit and shorts, which is, again, what I usually wear out there. And I can see that I am dropping stitches at warp speed. And since I am working this in a cotton acrylic blend, the stitches are just a little bit too slippery for that to be good. But yeah, it's definitely gonna work out beautifully. I don't have too long to go before I switch back to stockinette and do the short rows and some kind of edging on it. In the original pattern, there's also an edge going around here in the front, but I don't even know that that is going to be necessary for this version. Maybe I should just pick up the stitches and bind them off right away, just to give a cleaner edge around here. I will look into that. I do hope that I can finish it relatively quickly, because today is Thursday. We are leaving Monday morning. I don't know that I will love packing a soaking wet garment if I don't finish it by, what, Friday evening, something like that. I'm probably just gonna bring it with me unblocked, and then I can block it out there or not. I mean, I'll have to look at that. But yeah, I guess Friday night, that will leave enough time for it to dry up. So I know exactly what I am going to be knitting on, and I am really looking forward to it. The only other thing that I have been working on is my moss stitch blanket. I am not going to show that. I have been showing that every week this year, and it's not that interesting. I mean, seeing it week after week. Actually, if you want to see the moss stitch blanket and some of the other blankets that I have going, I am going to record a special episode with my blankets, because I have just been cleaning out my craft room here. And I've been trying to sort my yarns, I have so many scraps, so many oddballs, and I've been trying to like sort through them and divide them into some categories, so it's easier for me to get an overview of what I have and what I can use it for. And in doing that, as I was opening my baskets and my project bags, I could just see, wow, I have a lot of blankets going. I love blankets. What can I say? I love working on blankets. It just, they're unassuming whips. Typically for me, I don't have a deadline for a blanket. I don't plan on finishing a blanket at a specific time. I just work on it, and I just enjoy the process of working on it. Very often, as I'm drawing closer to the finish line, I can be like, okay, I'm gonna push it. I want to finish now. But for the first many hours, I'm just enjoying the process. And yeah, I pulled out all of the blankets, and I decided that I'm gonna start a little series here on the channel. About once a month, I'm gonna pop in with a special episode all about the blankets. Looking at some of the blankets that I've been working on and talking about the thought process behind the blanket, the process of making it, the yarn I'm using, and the pattern, if there is a pattern, if not, just, talking through how I'm making it. Just a monthly episode dedicated to all the blankets. That is something that I am looking forward to, because it'll be much more fun for me to show the blankets that I have been working on in a month, rather than sitting every week and showing you basically just a little more of the same. So be on the lookout for that episode if you are at all interested in blanket making. Maybe you're like, that sounds boring. Feel free to skip it. Your time is your time, and I really appreciate you spending it here with me. It means the world to me. I do hope to be back next week with an episode from the Maldives. I did that last year when we was there, and I really enjoyed that morning to myself, just sitting and chatting with you. I feel that it centers me and it gives me so much joy. I really feel the community that we have, and I am very, very grateful for it. So thank you so much for watching. Until we talk again, be safe, be happy, and keep knitting.